And we'll start with one block. So as you lay down, go ahead and grab a block, put it on its lowest height possible. Plant your feet, lay down, lift the hips, and we'll place that block right under the sacrum, flat bone at the base of your spine. Now, when you release the weight, this should feel comfortable. If for whatever reason you can't find that comfy space, if the pressure is just not right for you, the block is optional, okay? You don't have to use it. If you were to use it, what it does is it offers pressure, which later benefits us. It offers elevation of the hips, which helps to move some energy, which we'll talk about more here in a minute. With the block on its lowest height, this is a very subtle difference. There's not much elevation. It's just a couple, 2-3 inches, depending on your block. But it's enough to feel a little different. So notice your legs. See if you want them bent, long, what angle you want them to be bent. Again, this should be comfortable, right? Maybe close your eyes, feel it out, adjust as you need, and start to release, feeling heavy, letting go. Your job here is to breathe. In doing so, set up the way we are, we're moving energy. And I'm going to talk to you a little about that. So find those long, deep breaths. At any point, if you need, you can remove the block between now and when I tell you to. It's not required. Comfort in the shoulders, comfort in the jaw, and you start to let that energy move freely. Energy is breath, and it's also what it takes to sprint and run a marathon. But there's also the subtle body, the energetic body that lives within us. Scientifically proven. We've got over 200 chakras, Sanskrit for wheel, or energy wheels within us. Now, there's 200 of them. There's a bunch of theories that go with it. We're going to keep it pretty basic today. We're going to stick with the 7 main chakras that run along our spine, kind of to the front of the spine. Stay with your breath. These 7 chakras, starting at the very base, starting at essentially our groin, right at the very base of the torso, base of the spine is the root chakra. Going up from there, we get sacral, solar plexus, then heart, then throat. Those kind of tell you where we're at in the body, right? Third eye, forehead, brain, and crown, top of the head, or your output energy. So like I said, lots of theories with all of these, and they're said to be yoga poses that go with each chakra. So we're going to kind of move through, see if we can release some energy. Along the way, we'll stretch, we'll lengthen the spine, we'll get all the perks we usually do. We know the moves. So today, focus on your breath and your feeling, your sensation along the spine. A couple more minutes of breath here. Moments, I should say. When we think of sensation on the chakras, it's not like we feel a wheel stop, but for example, blockage or low energy in your heart chakra will just make you feel heavy there. Maybe sad, maybe corresponding emotion, sure. It's sort of a tightness that revolves around this. So we start low, we start with the hips. This is where the Kundalini energy rests. Our hips are already elevated. We've already done a lot of the work just laying here. And as you begin to move, leave the block right where it is, assuming you're still using it. Plant your feet just under your knees And with each inhale, press into your feet, lift the hips as high as you can. And as you exhale, lower the hips back down, maybe even finding a moment to pause and rest on the block. Keep it up with your breath. Slow, full inhales, pull the hips all the way up. All the way down for exhales. Moment to rest. Finding big breaths, helping us move big. Finally, let it go with an exhale. Your hips rest on the block or the ground. Knees come up just a little bit so you can send your legs up the wall to our waterfall pose, or legs up the wall on a block. You can wiggle your toes, move your arms, do whatever you need to hold in this pose. Most of it is already being done, just elevation. Relax your head, shoulders, jaw. Again, option to remove the block at any point. I'm going to request that you leave it there for a little longer if it feels good. Bring your right knee down toward the chest. Hold on to it and let your left leg go as long as it can. This might be straight and released. It might be slightly bent for support. As you bring your right knee up, the higher you pull up, the more you feel it on your left hip. But you can also move your knee in and out, side to side. This way you could start to feel it on your right hip as well. Stay with the breath. So easy to lose our breath. We need the breath to move that energy, right? Come back to center, both legs up the wall so you can realign. Relax, head, shoulders, jaw. Let your left knee come to the chest, right leg as long as it wants to. Left knee pulls up high for stretch. And out to the sides for that movement. Big breaths. Rascal would like to participate already. All right, back to center, legs up the wall. Find a moment to pause. Bring both knees down. Feet start to walk out long on the mat. At some point, your back will tell you to stop. This might be when your legs are fully extended or sometime before that. Point your toes, reach your arms up overhead, and imagine you're a big banana, just kind of a reverse banana, right? Big curve through the back, only if it feels good. Otherwise, we're in a full body stretch. Same difference. Fold at the knees, feet come to the mat, lift the hips gently, slowly, and remove the block. When your hips come down, be kind. Knees toward the chest. This will create length in your spine, and even more so when you lift your head. Pull into a little ball, rock side to side, check in with big breaths. And we're moving from our first chakra onto the second. Not that we feel it exactly there, right? It's just the theory. We'll flow with it. Our breath moves up a few inches. All right, let the feet come down, fall into bound angle. This time taking note of your low spine. Maybe your shoulders walk up the back, up the mat. Words are hard. Push your feet together, pull your knees down to the sides, and you feel this inner thighs. Reach your arms up overhead. At any point you'd like, let go of that pressure and tension and strength you're finding to just relax, and the body will melt. Little time here, and gravity does the work. One more full breath. Finish out the exhale. Inhale, knees towards center. Start to rock and roll. We'll come all the way up to seated. Finding knees toward the chest, sit bones rooted down. This way our muscles are kind of getting squished between the bones and the mat. That's the idea. Bring your knees toward your chest and hold on to them with one arm, both arms, or core strength. And roll around just a little bit. As you move, you can do this with strength. You don't need hands, you can use hands. It's kind of a free flowing pose. You feel massage on the back of the body. Sit up real tall. If you fall, it's okay. Feet down to the mat, hands back behind you. Fingers either face forward or you can be on a fist. Push down so hard that your heart starts to lift. And then push into the feet and see if you can lift the hips. If the hips aren't budging, that's okay. We can try. If your hips do lift, they could maybe go all the way up to a reverse table. Your head could fall back. Anywhere in between is great. One more breath. Let it go. Feet out long, sit bones root, arms overhead, and fold. Working to pull your toes back toward the chest. Working to pull your chest toward the toes. Couple breaths, relax the shoulders. Movement is welcome. Inhale up, step the feet out wide. As wide as they want to go comfortably. It's early on, so, be gentle. Just moving the hips a little bit. And again, we fold toes toward the chest, chest toward the floor. Nice long spine, nice long breath. Inhale up again, arms overhead. And with your exhale, find a side bend to the left. Your left hand comes down, right arm reaches over. Pause here for a moment and feel the stretch along the side body. Feel the breath move through the spine. All the way back to the other side. Find an exhale as you reach a little deeper over to the right and hold for a few breaths. Not that the breath actually moves through the spine, you get it, right? But energy, breath, it's all connected. Back to center, legs out in front. And another step, fold. Pulling the toes toward the heart toward the toes, the arms come down, and you get to kind of roll and rock. Bring the knees toward the chest, and we're done with our seat. Pull yourself over into tabletop and straight into child's pose. Those hips pull down and back. So, check in with your breath here, and we'll check in with the chakras mentally. If we've moved our energy through the hips, and this is not to say that we won't touch our hips again today, right? All connected. We've moved the energy through the base, through the pelvic region, hip center. We're now to the solar plexus, right about behind your belly button. It's where all your energy comes together. A lot of nerve endings meet here. They say the soul rests here. It's kind of your purpose. So it comes with some centering, some checking in. As you reach over to the right in your side bend, child's pose, pull the hips down and back to the left. Feel that center right behind the belly button. Kind of tighten up on your exhale, squeezing in. Big inhales to flow the energy through. And go ahead and scoot yourself over to the left. Hands walk left. Hips pull down and back to the right. And each exhale kind of centers you in. The diaphragm squeezes around the solar plexus. Come back to center. Lift yourself up to tabletop. Hands stay, but your right leg lifts up behind you. Bring the knee toward the right wrist, sliding into a pigeon pose. As we're heading right into pigeon, it's early on, right? Be gentle, move slow. Your knee will find its place first. If the shin is at about 45 degrees, you should feel safe, comfortable as you rest down. Pigeon can come with a block underneath the hip. So again, we head from tabletop, right leg lifts, right leg through, and we rest. Take a moment here to lift the heart. And you'll notice as you lift the heart, the body almost naturally goes into a back bend like cow. Try and exhale and round, pushing the energy back like a cat pose, and see what it does to your hips. Move back and forth, inhaling cat to cow, as much or as little as dramatics as your spine wants here. And you'll notice this will get you a little deeper into one hip, into the other, and yet we're moving through the belly. As we let this go, I've got another trick for you before we head to the other side. So plant your hands, bring your left knee into place so that your right leg can lift back up behind you. Floating for a second. Foot comes down and slide your right leg out to the right for a kickstand where our toes point forward. Push into the pinky edge of the foot. Slide your hips back just a little bit. And again, we find spinal movement. So inhale to a cow-like spine or lengthening through the spine. At the very least, we find length. And exhale to a cat tuck, which you'll notice you're kind of stuck there. How far can you go? Well, as far as your hip flexors will let you. Find your breath, find your movement, and notice the diaphragm, that center band muscle. It moves when you breathe. It's where we're supposed to sing from, I guess, but I don't do singing lessons, so I don't know. But it's a powerful muscle. All right, your hands come back to center. Bring the knees together and give your legs a break. Tuck into child's pose and find that center. Let the head rest. Feel your head resting either on the mat, on a block, on your hands, on something, so that the back of your neck can turn off. Really settle you in. And as you prepare for the other side, stay with your breath. Hands plant, lift yourself up, tabletop. Left leg lifts up behind you. The entry into pigeon pose is probably the most complicated part. Not that it's super complex, it's just a weird pretzel, right? Bring your left knee kind of toward the left wrist. Your right leg scoots back behind you, and as we lower down, the body will stop you at some point. A block under the hip might help. Again, sit up tall, use your hands to perch yourself, and then move through the spine. Cat and cow, just a little movement back and forth. Feel the squeeze through the belly. Feel the difference in the hips as you go back and forth. And yeah, feel the restriction. When we're in one position, we can't move as far in another. We can access new things too. All right, hands to the mat. Right knee kind of gets back into place. Tabletop-ish. Left leg lifts. Let it float just for a sec. Everything reshuffles. Left toes come down and slide straight out to the left. Kickstand pose. Self-named. As the toes point forward on your left foot, the pinky edge of the foot pushes down, the hips slide back, you feel an inner thigh stretch, and then cat and cow, or as much or as little movement as your spine wants. Just like our typical standard cat and cow, which we will come to later, with the eyes closed, you start to feel more, right? Sometimes you're stuck. Sometimes you move a little deeper as you breathe. Couple more rounds, stay with the breath. And then knees back together and let those hips rest. Child's pose. Neck finds some support, whether the head rests on the hands, the block, the mat, your dog, a pillow, whatever. Solar plexus is our, like I said, our purpose, right? It's our, what we stand for, what we mean, our intention, our personality. We're going to stay here the longest. Stay with the breath, watch the breath move, hands under shoulders, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and we're up to our downward facing dog. First one, pedal the feet, notice the legs. We've done a little work there, but maybe not so much on the back of the legs yet. Lift your tailbone high, keep the hands nice and strong. And feel the low belly engaged, just a little bit. Keep that low belly tucked in toward the spine as you walk your way up to a ragdoll. Bend the knees. Opposite hands to opposite elbows. The belly rests on the thighs or toward the thighs. Push your booty straight back. Wiggle around. Shake the head. Yes and no. Check in with your breath. Pause with the exhale. And inhale up just halfway. Halfway lift. Shoulders back. Exhale, release. Do it again, a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, pull the belly in. Release and fold. Push into your feet and come all the way up to stand. Feel that groundedness through the feet, feel the breath, feel the diaphragm, and we flow again. Exhale slowly all the way down. If you have full breaths and slow movements, it'll keep you from head rushes. Slow breath, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Rise to stand. Arms can swing up and around if you like. One more time, flow down. Halfway lift. Shoulders back. Exhale, flow down. And we rise, this time to stand. Pause. Arms up overhead, lots of length, and then bring them either to heart center or down along your sides, whichever feels more natural for you. Close your eyes and I'm going to make you feel really weird while you're standing. So feel all four corners of the feet. Feet are about hip distance. Knees are a little wiggly, not locked. We just talked about the belly, right? Let's engage that belly one more time. Stand up as tall as you can. Relax your shoulders. Notice how you feel. You probably are like, oh God, am I ever standing right? You are. Now just relax. We always stand right because our bodies are made to move, but standing still, it's a little bit different. When you stand still, you feel that energy move. We'll check back in here in a few. So with your breath in, swing the arms out, up and around. Reach to the sky. Exhale down. Halfway lift. And find your blocks. We'll get the blocks, one in each hand, underneath the shoulders. If you don't have blocks, you can use core strength. You can use water bottles. You can use anything that will hold you up about 6 or 8 inches. You can also use your leg, and you'll find out how that works in a moment. For our pyramid pose, we're going to do right side first. So step your left leg back, right foot forward. We're about 1 leg's distance. And again, the hands are offering us some support here, right? If you don't have blocks, you could use your leg. Just don't push into the knee. Find some length through the spine, some breath, some diaphragm squeeze. We're talking solar plexus, right? We're right around the belly button. Stay focused there, breathe there, and all of a sudden your leg is going to release. In pyramid pose, you can hold still and straighten and breathe, or you can wiggle a little bit. Do what calls to you. We're actually going to open this up either way and find movement of the turn so you can see. So leave the blocks and imagine you're doing a reverse cartwheel. Go ahead and reach your arms up, and as you stand up, arms overhead, your left toes face the long edge of the mat. In our triangle pose, reach your left arm down, back behind you. Your right arm reaches up and you feel side body stretch. Push down into your right foot and reach up through your right arm. Lots of length. Now do it again. Cartwheel all the way down to that pyramid. Be gentle. Toes will kind of tuck forward. Find your hands on the blocks, the leg, the wall, whatever. Lengthen your spine. Take a breath. And we'll do our cartwheel one more time up to the sky. guess reverse cartwheel. Yeah. Reverse, slow motion, pause. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And when we come down to pyramid, this time we'll add a new trick. Down to the blocks, the leg, down to hold. Left hand stays, right arm opens out to a twist, out to a T, maybe reaching to the sky, but only if your hip is ready for it. It's super intense. Push and straighten through that front leg and take a big breath. Back to center, hands to the mat or to the blocks. Bend your knees, step it forward, and dangle into ragdoll. Wiggle, wiggle side to side. Notice your difference. See if you can lengthen the back a little bit by scooting your booty back and letting the head go. Find your breath. Inhales carry us up all the way to the sky. Move slow, arms overhead, and we'll check in with that mountain. Hands to heart center, shoulders relax. Big breaths to keep the circulation. Check in with the feet, the belly, the shoulders, all the alignment, and then relax. Just one more time through the other side. So here we go. Left foot forward, right foot back. We find our pyramid pose. It's about one leg's distance, but it's more about what you feel on your left leg. You should be feeling some stretch on the back of that leg. Wiggle around, adjust how you need. Lengthen your spine by using the hands to support. And then we'll try our cartwheels. See what gymnastics is like this morning. On your inhale, push into your left leg, reach all the way up. Right toes point away toward the long edge of the mat. And in triangle, we find length along the left side of the body this time. Big reach, big breath. And slowly, gently cartwheel yourself down. Keep the legs as straight as you can. Fold in pyramid, feel the back of the leg stretch. Wiggle your hips around. We'll open up to another cartwheel. Use an inhale. Inhales always give us strength. Lines you up for the exhale to reach, and then another breath or two. All the way back down, pyramid, pyramid, but this time to twist. Find your alignment, your length, your placement, and then left arm opens up, right arm stays. Again, you could be supporting yourself with core strength, the leg, the floor, the mat, the block, whatever. Let it go. Hands down, soft bend in the knee. We step it forward to a ragdoll. And again, focus on creating that length through the low back, kind of middle to low back. Pause at center. Inhale up to stand, arms overhead. Hands come down. Maybe close the eyes. Feel your mountain pose. Mountains, what are we doing? Just standing? Oh, we're moving our energy. We're lengthening our spine. Feeling things move through and feeling our solid middle ground, our base. Arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, ragdoll on your way down. Wiggle around a little bit. Hands to the mat. Step your feet back, downward facing dog. Lift the hips. Knees down to the mat. Hips down and back. Take a few breaths in your child's pose. And we start to move up in our energy centers. Started with the root, through the sacral, through the solar plexus, and now on to the heart. We often do heart opening classes. Well, we'll spend that whole time, right, working to open the chest because it opens the muscles around the chest. Done a little bit so far and take it a little further. Move with your breath. Feel it move. So from child's pose, carry yourself forward onto the belly and make sure you've got your strap nearby. You may or may not need it. We'll find out. First things first, lay on the belly, bend the knees. windshield wipers, kind of loosen up that low back. Prop yourself up on the forearms, reach back with the right hand, grab a hold of the right leg, strap if you need it. And just a little baby tug. We're kind of just assessing both sides, and then we'll do full bow. We'll walk through the whole thing. So here, squeeze the glutes and push your hips down toward the mat. Your upper body could be lifted, which will bend your back, or you could stay real low. Switch to the other side. Straighten out, lengthen out that muscle a little bit. See what's going on the left. Maybe one side's tighter. Maybe we just kind of need to be mindful. Maybe we notice, yeah, that feels good. We'll come back. Or it's hard. We'll approach with caution. Let it go. Hands under shoulders. Or I'm sorry, elbows under shoulders. Very different. And with your elbows right under your shoulders, we're automatically in Sphinx. Let your hips relax. Maybe your feet go wide. And imagine dragging or scooping your heart forward, up, and back. So you could even be so low that your rib cage stays connected to the mat. Just feeling that scoop, that lift, but your shoulders push down. All the way down to the belly, to the forehead, to melt. Bend the knees, legs side to side. Now, if you reached for those half bows, half leg grabs, and it was easy for you, relatively, you could probably do both feet, grab them, and pull. Go ahead and try it out if you'd like. If it was tough for you, straps will probably come in handy. Now, the hardest part is lassoing the feet. You often have to kind of push yourself up, maybe bend. What we want is the strap on the tops of the feet. Our hands pull the feet in toward the body. And again, the heart could stay low or lifted, just like we did half. Arms could be overhead or along your sides. It's a heart opening pose. So think about pulling your shoulders back. Using that bind on your legs to pull the arms. Keep your spine as low as you need to keep it as flat as you need. Feel some big breaths here. This is a difficult pose. It's hard to get into and it's hard to breathe in. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. Wherever our challenges are, find some forgiveness. Let go gently. If you're using the strap, throw it aside. Hands under shoulders. Push yourself all the way back to child's pose. Let your arms reach forward nice and wide so you've got some space through the shoulders, through the collarbones. And your hips pulling down and back gives you that nice space along the low back. Heart chakra, halfway there. Find another breath, move that energy. And with your inhale, slide forward to tabletop. And we'll do this next part real gentle. So your knees stay in place, and your hands will step forward about 2 or 3 inches at a time. Your hips start lowering down to the mat. If you get to any point and want to stop, that's where you stop, you hold, you press, you lift. If you get all the way down, what would happen is your hands would be right under your shoulders and your hips would touch the mat. But again, they don't have to, right? Anywhere in between is upward facing dog. Full blown is toes pushing onto the mat, tops of the feet, hands push down. If we're thinking heart opener, okay, we go from table. How far do we need to pull our shoulders back and feel it through the belly? Take another breath, far as you need to go. And finally, all the way back to child's pose once more. Knees together as close as they can be so that the spine rounding over has lots of space. Feel a few heavy breaths. And one more heart opening pose before we move to the next. Pull forward onto the belly. Everybody loves this one. My Simon Says pose. All right, so your right hand will be out at a cactus or goalpost. Elbow right out from the shoulders. Push down into your elbow. Pull your shoulder down your back. It'll glue onto your back. As you lift up to lift the left, or roll over to lift the left leg, your left hand gives you some kind of leverage to push. But today in this pose, we're going to find breath and flow. So I want you to press and twist on your inhales and let the body come back out toward the mat, though it may not leave the pose completely on your exhales. As you find a little bit of flow here, we reconnect with the breath. We help to use the breath to open up. And we also allow the body different angles, different opportunities, while staying with the flow of energy, right? That is our key today. All right, one more breath, one more twist. We're still on the right side. Come to the belly. Let your forehead rest on the mat. Reach your hands behind. See if you can interlace the fingers. If the hands don't quite reach, pretend like your hands are in pockets and lift your elbows. Your heart does not necessarily have to lift off of the mat, but you'll feel your shoulders pulling back as you start to lift either your fists or your elbows, depending on what's higher in the sky, right? Let it go. Set up the left side. Left arm out to your cactus or goalpost. Pull your left shoulder blade down the back. Stick it on. Right fingertips give you leverage as you roll. With each inhale, we lift. And each exhale, we lower down and release. Noticing as you move what you feel through the heart space between shoulders, along the chest, along the breath. There is some muscle opening happening here. There's also breath. There's twisting. Lots of sensation. Let's do one more round. Roll onto the side. Roll back to the belly. And bind once more. So let the forehead rest. Interlace the fingers or hands in pretend pockets. Maybe you have real pockets. Let the arms go. Fold your hands to create a pillow under the face. And just take a few breaths to melt. Hands under shoulders, knees bend as you push yourself back. Child's pose, rest for a breath, feel the low back, lengthen, lengthen. And then rise to your hero's pose, where we come to sit on the knees. Toes can be tucked or flat. And we do have blocks. If you need something to sit on, get a seat. We're moving up to the throat chakra. So that one's pretty easy, right? You know where your throat is. So there it is. They say that this guy has to do with your voice, how you speak, how you communicate. So as we sit in heroes, relax through the upper body, relax the shoulders, relax the jaw, maybe even close the eyes and try to be as tall as you can through the top of the head. It's called axial extension. You're not bending back or reaching forward, straight up. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, exhale out the mouth, big exhale. There's nobody around, you're fine. It's called lion's breath. Try it again, maybe even the tongue goes out. Literally called lion's breath. What this does is it burns off some extra energy. Like, why are we doing this? Well, because when we do it, we're helping to pull and squeeze our shoulders down. Then let that breath go and just sit with your energy for a second, the way we did in mountain pose, right? You just feel the breath move, you feel where things are sitting, settling. And then from heroes, we'll open up the throat a little bit more. So keep with those big exhales. You could do lion's breath the whole time if you want. But we'll rise up onto the knees. Lift your arms up overhead. Maybe look up, feel the chin kind of lift through the throat. And as you exhale, pull the elbows back like cactus arms and lift through the chin. It's not necessarily dumping your head back, though your head will drop, but it's lifting through the chin. Now inhale, back to center, head, shoulders, arms overhead. Tuck the belly in, squeeze it in, feel the centers we've already worked on, and do it again a few times. So exhaling back. You might find a slight back bend if you'd like as you lift the chin. Inhale up. And again, that lion's breath can help you let go of the throat, of neck tension, of shoulder tension. One more time. And come down, hero's pose, hips settle, arms rest. Close the eyes, tuck the chin. Energy really moves with that one. All right, when you feel kind of stabilized through your breath, we'll come to work up to stand for one more sun salutation. So find yourself in tabletop. Rascal. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Paddle your feet. Walk the feet up to meet the hands, bend the knees. Inhale up to stand all the way. Arms up overhead. Exhale to that cactus-like spine, cat-like spine. And inhale, reach forward, elbows reach forward, hands reach forward. Back we go for the exhale, standing cat and cow. In standing cat and cow, it is a cat and cow, but you feel it more upper chest, upper spine than anything else. Let it go, down to center, arms relaxed, stand in mountain. This is our last kind of check-in with your standing foundation. Yes, it's simple, but yes, it's powerful, and it's what all of your movements are built off of. Feel the energy move. Maybe it's getting stronger. It's the flow. When you're ready to let go, fold into forward fold, hands come down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Up to stand, arms overhead, hands to heart center. Find your balance, shift it into the left leg. And as you peel the right heel, we'll work our way into tree pose. And in theory, we've now released the energy in our hips. We've moved through who we are. We've opened our heart. We figured out how to communicate. Now this is in theory, right? So see if it works. And we're up to the crown. The third eye, center of the forehead, the brain, the cognition. This is where balance comes in. So if our toes are touching the ground, no big deal. If we're up floating, no big deal. We're still balancing. We're still pulling that energy together. And we're still feeling our breath and our hips and our center and our heart all the way up. Big breath, centering you through, maybe closing the eyes. Only when you can. Bring your knee back to center with as much control as you've got. We'll stay on the same legs. We're still balancing on the left leg, but work into a dancer pose, bending the left or the right knee. Still have a strap if you need it, or we get a hold of the foot on our own, who knows. Try to stand up as straight as you can. Focus on the top, the center of the head, lifting, elevating. Now the crown that we're going to get into with Shavasana is the very last, and there's a very subtle difference between the last two chakras. Like I said, cognition versus intuition, right? Mental, but different. Let that foot go, feel your balance. Shake it out in between sides. Shift to the center, right foot takes the weight, hands kind of balance you out wherever you need. Use your mind, use your third eye. Imagine where you're at. Find your tree pose on the left side. Third eye is also what gives us that proprioception, knowing what is around us and where our bodies are at in space. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's a tool for us to work with. And another breath. Close the eyes for when you can. You can always open them. And let's see what balance is like backwards. So try it again. Let the foot go. Bring it down. And dancer pose. We now just reach behind us. It's a different proprioception. Standing up as straight as we can. Using our sensors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. How many we got? Use them all. And then play with it. Take out what you can. Close the eyes. Open them up. Let this foot go. Shake it out in between sides. Reach your arms up, interlace the fingers, and imagine that you're reaching with the point of your pointer fingers are the only ones up. Reach up as tall as you can. Keep the head facing forward, but you just feel this energy rising upward, right? This is your axial extension. Take it into a back bend if you'd like. And then bring yourself all the way down to a forward fold to a ragdoll. Exhale on the way. Release that energy. Hands plant, step yourself back, downward facing dog. Exhale, knees to the mat, hips down and back, child's pose. And find your forehead resting on the mat once more. If you don't reach the mat, grab a block, grab your hands, your arms, something. Got a little pillow for your third eye then, right? Forehead's resting. Feel that connection. There is actually muscles there, and there's an opening where the 4 muscles connect. It's where the energy moves. Go ahead and sit yourself up. Welcome to swing yourself around into a seated pose called Sukhasana. Translates to easy pose. I don't know why. I like cross-legged. Pick a leg, whichever one's in front. Meditative seat, right? If you're uncomfortable, sit on a block. It'll help the spine a little bit. See if you can just find that easy pose. I say quotes, right? That's what they call it. Hands down, spine relaxes but elevates. And we've now moved from the third eye to the crown, so we're at the top of the head. And this is, in theory, your intuition. So this is where meditation comes in. How do you do that? Well, we work on it every time we do Shavasana. We work on it every time we breathe. We also work on it when we move. There's meditative movements. So bring your chin down toward your chest. Still feeling the spine lengthen, shoulders relax. Bring your left ear to your left shoulder, just kind of rolling it over gently. And then fluid motion, roll the chin back towards center and the ear, right ear to the right shoulder. So we're just doing little half circles. Find big breaths along the way. And it'll become this trance-like motion. You might find huge stretches along the way, but try to avoid pushing into them. Just move. And then pause at center. And we'll do half circles kind of the other way, a little different. Lift the chin. And rotate your right ear toward your right shoulder with the chin elevated. Keep the shoulders relaxed, move gentle, head to the other side. And as you go back and forth, you'll hit the scalenes. These ones will give you big stretches no matter what. Just take a second to breathe into it and head to the other side. Back to center. Roll the shoulders around. Roll the shoulders forward. Notice which leg is in front and switch. This other way will feel uncomfortable, but we'll keep it even somehow. Sit up tall once more, root those sit bones, relax the jaw, and start to make a circle with your torso. Just kind of cruising through and around, just pick a direction. We'll do both ways. Maybe even close the eyes. And again, this kind of trance-like slow motion gets us into the mental state. Be as tall as you can while you move and pick up a spot to pause. Just switch sides, switch directions. One more hip release here. Go ahead and sit up to center. Let your hands come behind you. Your feet will come in front, but a little wider than the hips. With your hands supporting you as far back as you want, as close as you want. Let your knees simply slide side to side, pivoting on the inside and outside of the feet. Doesn't need to be painful, dramatic, stretchy, just movement. Keep the eyes closed if it helps you. And notice the breath. We've used our breath to move this energy all the way through our body. We might as well finish circulating it out. Let this go. Back to center. Hold on to the knees and let yourself roll onto your back. Knees in toward the chest. Curl up into a little tiny ball. Maybe roll side to side. Pause your movement. You can use the block here if you'd like. You don't have to at all, but send the legs up the wall. Legs up the wall, they call the anti-aging pose because it helps reverse your blood flow. It helps reverse your spinal movement. Helps fight gravity. So what a great thing for us to end with. We've done all this work. Flow it through. And if we go with the theory and we've cleansed our chakras and cleared our energy centers, nothing is perfect. It's a process, right? They say that you open up your aura and then all of a sudden your energy comes out a little cleaner. And you can say you see colors or whatever. You can look at it that way. Or you can just talk about how you feel, right? Feel a little kinder, calmer, more like yourself. We can hope. Bring your knees down, feet down, and step your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Make sure your spine feels nice and long. And allow your next exhale for your knees to fall left. Maybe your arm reaches out to the right, or you look to the right to complete this twist. The details of how you look in the twist are completely up to you. Let yourself be comfortable. Let the eyes close. Notice how the body feels, how the breath moves. Little by little, use your inhale to release back to center. Pause in the middle long enough to realign. Drop the knees to the right. Open up to the left, however you can. Look left to finish your twist. In our twist, we do kind of wring out the spine, but we also kick in the parasympathetic nervous system, and all of a sudden the body starts to calm down. Not that it was in fight or flight mode, but you get more calming, more calming. Release of breath. Breath starts to fall into that shallow realm. Let it move at its own pace. Observe when you catch an inhale, you can come back to center. Knees in toward the chest. Find your happy baby. See what you've got left in the legs and the hips. Push your low back down toward the mat as you move around. Your knees come down toward the chest. Wrap your arms around. Pull yourself into a little tiny ball. Lift the head and shoulders. Squeeze yourself in. Big breath in. When you let go of the breath, let go of the body, falling to the mat for your final Shavasana or corpse pose. letting the body fall wherever it may. Fingers curl as hands relax.